Well, we're now a couple weeks into the new year, and all of those resolutions that people had planned are starting to fall by the wayside. We always have such great intentions and we plan these big changes for the new year, and then of course we start the new year tired and hungover from the night before. But there is one resolution that so far I'm keeping, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep it for the next 12 months, and that is to read even more horror. The postman was good to me today, and I just got this wonderful little package from Nightworms, the horror book subscription service. For those of you who don't know, it's a company that every month sends you a couple of mystery horror books in the mail, along with some extra little goodies. And if you haven't been around this channel before, first of all, welcome. And second of all, I open these up here on camera and discover at the very moment that you do what they've sent each month. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to open up the January 2023 Nightworms package. While I open that up, do make sure that you remember to like this video and share it and subscribe and ring the notification bell and leave me comments and do all of those wonderful things. That helps me to grow this channel. And I'll also point out, if you're interested in whatever happens to come out of this package, because we don't know what's coming out of it yet, I will, after I film this, put purchase links down in the What's It. That way you can find these books for yourself and help support this channel at the very same time. But without further ado, let's see what's inside. The first of them is a thin little hardcover, and that's a book called Festival. This is by Christopher Golden and Tim Leben, both of whom I've read before, both excellent authors, so that bodes well. It also says it's illustrated by Peter Bergting, and it looks like, yes, it's not a graphic novel, but it does have many illustrations throughout the book. I'm not going to look at them in great detail because I don't want to spoil anything, but I would call this a long short story or perhaps a novella, and along with illustrations. It's not a book that I'm familiar with, so I'm going to go ahead and read the description to figure out what it's about. Festival. The Valhalla Music Festival commemorates a long-ago Viking slaughter. But when strange things start to happen, it seems the massacre may be far from over. When festival goers begin to disappear, and musicians find themselves playing mysterious and ancient songs as if possessed, the fans have to figure out what's going on before the festival site's haunting past comes back for blood. New York Times bestselling horror writers Christopher Golden and Tim Leben create a music festival to die for in this illustrated novel with artwork by Peter Bergting. So that's an interesting idea, a haunted or perhaps possessed music festival. I'm not much of a music festival sort of person. I tend not to like most of the music that's played at festivals, but I like the idea of a Viking music festival. That sounds quite intriguing. And this idea that music could be a possessing force is an interesting one, and it's, well, let's not go too deep into it, but there's some interesting psychology or philosophy behind that idea, at least metaphorically speaking. And flipping through the book, again, I'm not trying to look too much, I don't want to spoil anything, but the illustrations do look quite good as well, so this should be a quick read, and I'm looking forward to trying Festival. Next, we have another hardcover. They are treating me well this month. That's a book called Bad Cree by Jessica Johns. Let me read the description on this one because I have heard of it, but I've only heard of it. I don't know anything about what it's about. It says, in this gripping horror-laced debut, a Cree woman's dreams lead her on a perilous journey that forces her to confront the toll of a legacy of violence on her family, her community, and the land they call home. When Mackenzie wakes up with a crow's head in her hands, she panics. Only moments earlier, she had been fending off masses of birds in a snow-covered forest. In bed, she blinks and the head disappears. Night after night, Mackenzie's dreams return to a memory from before her sister Sabrina's untimely death. A weekend at the family's lakefront campsite, long obscured by a fog of guilt. But when the waking world starts closing in too, a murder of crows stalks her around the city, she emerges, retching water from a nightmare of drowning, and she gets threatening text messages from someone claiming to be Sabrina. Mackenzie knows this is more than she can handle alone. Traveling north to her rural hometown in Alberta, she finds her family still grappling with the same grief she ran away to Vancouver to escape. They welcome her back, but their shaky reunion only seems to intensify her dreams and make them more dangerous. What really happened that night at the lake? And what did it have to do with Sabrina's death? Only a bad Cree would put their family at risk, but what if what has been calling Mackenzie home was within her all along? Johns' visceral writing takes us from dreams to a waking nightmare and asks us to find the universal in the personal, uncovering shame, doubt, and denial as she tracks a family's attempts to come to grips with loss. So that actually sounds really good. I don't still have too much of an idea what it's about. The description was somewhat vague and nebulous. It gives me kind of an idea who the character is and sort of what the family situation is, but I don't know, or we don't know, what the monster or the evil or the adversary in this book is going to be. And I like it that way. It seems recently that movie trailers in particular, but also book descriptions, have had a habit of giving away a little too much of the story and frankly spoiling too much. And yes, we need to know what the story's about to know whether it's something we want to read or not, and this does sound like something I want to read, but we also want to discover the story along the way. The discovery is usually the most important part and the most fun part of reading a book. So I'm very glad that we've been left with a lot to discover, and I'm looking forward to trying Bad Cree by Jessica Johns. And then there's this little goodie pouch. For those of you who don't know or haven't seen one of these videos before or don't subscribe to Nightworms yourself, in addition to the books, and usually there are 2 books as there were this month, they also send a little packet that has some other stuff, and it's usually some good stuff. So let's dig in and see what we find here. Inside this month's pouch, the first thing to come out is the bookmark. There's always a bookmark. This one says A Haunted Past, Nightworms for January 2023. Each month is themed, so this month's theme is A Haunted Past, and they always send one of these bookmarks in accordance with each month's theme, so I like that. It'll go into my collection of bookmarks. I seem to have a million of them. And we have this little list of all of the stuff that's inside. I'm not going to read it now because I'm going to just dig in and see what I find, but it's always nice that they include those things. And on the back, there's an ad for a company called Kaylee Creates, which looks like a artist that makes horror or spooky themed little what's-its. We have next another bookmark, this one advertising a new book by V. Castro, who's an author who I've read before and would recommend, so I'll be checking that book out. Then we have a book plate. This is a signed book plate. It says Bad Cree, so this is autographed by Jessica Johns and will go into this book. I like that they frequently include these book plates because I collect signed books, and book plates are not quite as good as a physically signed book, but they're almost as good, so it's nice to turn these into autographed copies. Next is a sticker that says Mood Reader, and it's got a skeleton reading a book, so that's a nice little sticker. If you like stickers, you'll always like what they include in these little pouches. Next, we have the drinking goods. This is, it says Winter Brew. This one is from Crooked Crows. The description is very small, but I can read it, and it says, an organic blend of caffeine-free tea, cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, ginger root, and stevia. I don't particularly care for the caffeine-free part, but if it tastes good, it's still good, so I'll be brewing this up, perhaps even this evening, because as I'm filming this, it's a frigid and snowy, wintry sort of an evening, so a nice thing to add to my little coffee and tea bar that I have upstairs. Next, we have a magnet of a Ouija board. It says, Bibliophile, the spirits say buy more books. Yes, indeed. The spirits do say buy more books. I'll stick this on the side of a filing cabinet or something with the other magnets, but it's a message with which I think we can all agree. Buy more books. And is there anything else? There is nothing else. So, a nice little collection. 2 books, both of which sound quite interesting. Of course, those are the most important things. A signed book plate to go with one of them. Some tea, some bookmarks and stickers and magnets and things. Another successful month from the Nightworms people, and I think a sign of good things to come in the year ahead. I'm headed off to go read these books, so until next time, do make sure that you do all those YouTube-y things that help me grow the channel. Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, etc., etc. Check in the description for more on my other projects and for links to these books if you're interested. And as always, take care and stay scared.